evening, guys and girls, and welcome back to Ange Gaming. Today, I'm going to be discussing the Blades of the Fallen Prince, the artifact weapon that will be used by the Frost Death Knights. And the two weapons, as you should know, are Icebringer and Frost Reaper. You got a nice little bit of a blurb at the bottom there. When my days have come to an end, you shall be king, and now we are one. If you remember back from Wrath of the Lich King, Frozen Throne, all that good stuff, you'll recognize those quotes. Anyway, let's get straight back to it. I want to just quickly go through all the talents that are going to be available to us when we get these artifact weapons, and then I will quickly just go over the appearances of the different weapons, show you all the different styles of them that we have available to us at the moment. So let's just dive straight into it. First thing that we'll be getting is something called Crystalline Swords. You'll get this pretty much straight off the bat as soon as you get the weapon. Now what it does is that as you attack, icy copies of Icebringer and Frost Reaper begin to float beside you, and periodically they will stab out and pierce your foes. So this you'll be getting straight off the bat as soon as you get the weapon pretty much. And essentially what it's really there for is just to make your artifact weapon feel a little bit more special, a little bit more unique. Don't expect a gigantic damage amount to be dealt with this ability. It's very much there just for a cosmetic idea, but it will give you a little bit of a damage increase. Right, then we've got the Ancient Power placeholder at the moment. Increases all damage done by 5%. I'm not too sure what they're going to be doing with it in future. Where it's going to go, we'll just have to wait and see. Now I want to move over to the side here to show you Blast Radius. Now what essentially this does is it just increases some damage dealt by your Howling Blast by 10%. It does go up to 3 ranks, so it does go to 20% and then finally to 30%. So essentially it's just there to increase your damage and make your weapon feel a little bit more powerful, and it's exactly the same thing with Dead of Winter down here, which increases the damage of your Remorseless Winter by 5%. For those of you that don't know, Remorseless Winter is now a guaranteed ability. You don't have to choose it as a talent. You'll definitely be getting it as soon as you start at level 100. And then in the middle is more of a survivability thing. It gives you Anti-Magic Shell, will now also clear debuffs for you when it is activated, so it's going to be used very situationally, of course. Could help you out in raids or in other situations. Now moving down the side here, we have Cold as Ice. Once again, this is very much just to make your weapon feel more powerful, because it increases your frost damage dealt by 3%, and then up to 6%, and then finally the whole way up to 10%. Now in the middle we have Frozen Skin, a lot more for survivability again. It reduces your damage taken by 3%, up to 6%, and finally to 10%, just to give you some more survivability. Then we have Ice in Your Veins. Increases the healing of Death Strike by 100% while Icebound Fortitude is active, so once again survivability. Moving down to the side, let's just finish up this train this line that's heading down this way, is Frozen Core. Essentially, while your Pillar of Frost is active, enemies that attack you are automatically ensnared in chains of ice. Now I don't know about you, but pretty much everybody that I know uses Pillar of Frost off cooldown, so as soon as it comes back up and you can use it, you do use it. So when it comes to raiding, I don't really think that this is going to be that effective. Just every now and again, whenever you pop your Pillars of Frost, random guys are going to get ensnared in the chains of ice. Doesn't seem to be that important in my eyes. Then we have Nothing But the Boots. Increases the critical strike damage of Obliterate by 10%. For those of you that don't know, Obliterate is the main ability that you're going to be using as opposed to Frost Strike, as Obliterate is the one that now will be used with Killing Machine only. So you can only use Killing Machine with Obliterate. This increases its damage by the critical strike damage of it by 10%, up to 20%, and then up to 30%, making your Killing Machine procs do quite a bit more damage by the looks of things. And then we have our first elite ability. I'm calling them elite abilities because of the Golden Dragon. It's called Syndragosa's Fury, and it literally summons Syndragosa, who's going to cast Frost Breath for you. And Frost Breath will inflict 24,000 and some odd to 29,000 some odd frost damage to enemies in a 4-yard cone in front of the caster. In addition, the target's attack speed is decreased by 50% for 10 seconds. Now this is on a 5-minute cooldown, so it'll be very much situational when you're going to use that in a fight. Going back up a little bit further up, it is Ambidexterity, which increases the offhand damage dealt by Frost Strike and Obliterate by 10%. So that is, given that your offhand damage is going to be less, It's just giving it a bit more power, giving you a bit more power. Then we have our next elite ability called Hypothermia, and it's a hypothermia I should rather say. Now hypothermia, jeez, I'm not going to ever be able to say that right. Every periodic tick of frost fever deals 10% more damage. Just gives your diseases a bit of an increase in damage. Moving down here, we have Bad to the Bone. Increases the effectiveness of your Razor Ice Runeforge by 50%, and then up to 75, and finally up to 100%. So your Razor Ice will feel slightly more powerful. Then we got Chill of the Grave. Increases the range of your Frost Strike by 8 yards. Given that Frost Strike is a melee ability, I really don't see the point in this. However, it just means you can get an extra attack off from a little bit further away. Then we have Overpowered. Your Obliterate has a chance to generate 3 more runic power. Now that does go up to 6, and then finally up to 10 more runic power at rank 3. So it could just help out do a bit more attacks, therefore more damage. It's a good thing, guys, it's a good thing. And finally we have Frozen Soul. When Remorseless Winter expires, a burst of frost damage is released. Now that damage is increased for every single enemy you hit with Remorseless Winter while it was going on. So essentially you'll store power, and then once it's over it will explode in a burst of frost damage, dealing damage to everyone that is around you. Now overall I am going to say that I'm really liking some of these abilities. Cidragrosa's Fury sounds awesome. Hypothermia is a bit underwhelming in my eyes for what's supposed to be an elite thing that you're supposed to get. It's supposed to be very special as opposed to the others, but I can think of several other things which are basically doing the exact same thing for even more so damage. I mean, let's face it, you're going to get more damage out of the 30% increase to your critical strike damage from Obliterate than you are from your Hypothermia's 10% increase to Frost Fever. However, that's just my own opinion. Of course, post your own in the comments below. Now let's quickly go over to the appearances. Now this is something that I've been feeling for every single one of the artifact weapons, because pretty much all of them only have 5 different skins. We can hope that they're going to bring in more later. I'm really hoping that they will in further patches. However, at the moment, just having these 5, and some of these are quite difficult to get. For instance, the Gravekeeper, let's just take for instance, reach prestige level 1 and complete the quest The Victor's Spoils in order to unlock it. So you'll get this by doing PvP. We have to complete the quest Ancient Power, complete the Class Hall campaign, and for Soul Collector they haven't told us yet how you can achieve this. Now what this brings to mind is that sure, while we're leveling we're going to be seeing a lot of the base model. Once you finish the Class Hall campaign, probably around 110, you'll get the upgraded version of it, which does look pretty cool. And then you'll do a couple of other things to be able to unlock the extra things. So basically, after a couple of months, we are going, or probably within a month, let's face it, people play this game a little bit too seriously sometimes. They will have unlocked everything. I'm going to be one of them. And so we'll be seeing 5 different versions of this running around. Now, it's very unlikely that people are going to want to transmog to an older weapon. Because, well, let's face it, we got these for this expansion, this is what we want to use. However, within a couple of months, if there isn't any new patches with any new weapons coming out, we're going to get pretty tired of seeing everybody with these 5 different 5 different weapons running around. It is going to get a little bit just boring in seeing that everybody's got pretty much the same weapons. I'm pretty sure after people have gotten this, they aren't going to be going back to the standard Blades of the Fallen Prince model, as it is slightly underwhelming when you compare it to this gigantic ice-covered awesomeness of frost damage. So that's basically my problem that I have with all the artifact weapons at the moment. It is just very, very disappointing. It will be disappointing, I should rather say, if we don't get anything new out in further patches and we're stuck with these 5 variations. Hopefully Blizzard will not make that mistake and we will see more. Alright, so I just want to quickly talk to you about these different things. As you can see, it's not simply that we only get these 5, we do get different colors for each of these different weapons. For instance, this looks incredibly badass and I love it. Let's check it out in the upgraded version. Just look at that, it's absolutely beautiful. And then that goes forward with a whole bunch of different colors to be able to match your different styles of transmogs. For instance, got orange, we've got yellow for some of them, even though it's kind of purpley on this one, never mind. And for instance, a Gravekeeper. Now, I will say that I do love the design of the Gravekeeper. It seems to me like very much a rune weapon at its base, and a very bulky, very hard-hitting style to it, which I do really, really love. And then finally, the Soul Collector is definitely my favorite. Absolutely, you can tell that they put a lot of love into this. That design is absolutely amazing. 2 different blades essentially are in it. It's just looking absolutely fantastic. So that, guys, is the Blade of the Fallen Prince. I'm going to be going over next. Plan on doing Thunderstrike, and I'll catch you guys in that video hopefully. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Awesome having you here. Have a good one.